Hey everybody, this morning, it's a beautiful weekday morning. I am actually walking along in Fishers, Indiana, in really one of the most affordable parts of Fishers, Indiana. So we're gonna talk about this particular area just a little bit in this video, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you wanna know everything there is to know about living in Fishers, Indiana, or Indianapolis, Indiana, Carmel, Indiana, Greenwood, Indiana, any of the surrounding cities and towns around Indianapolis or Indianapolis itself, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also tap that little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. Now we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about Fishers, Indiana, or nearby Carmel, Indiana, or just to the north, Noblesville, Indiana, and of course to the south, Indianapolis, Indiana. So if you have questions about any of those places at all, then don't hesitate to reach out any ways you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back when it comes time for you to make your move to the Indy Metro. All right, so again, I'm out here in Fishers, Indiana on a beautiful morning on actually a Wednesday, and the sun is shining and kind of crushing my eyes right now. But in this video, we want to talk about really the most affordable place to live in Fishers. And if you follow homes at all on any website like realtor.com or Zillow or even our local MLS, then you can probably see where some of the more affordable homes are in all of Fishers and really anywhere. So they're honestly clustered together in Fishers in this particular area. In fact, this neighborhood that I'm walking out of here right now is a neighborhood that I used to live in. So I have lived in a lot of different places in Indianapolis and actually surrounding Indianapolis. So Fishers, though, is the place where I've lived the longest. And I bought my very first house in Fishers in 2004, right back here in this particular neighborhood. And of course, 2004, this video is being made in 2021. So 2004 was, I would say, a long time ago now, but in the grand scheme of things, not an incredible amount of time. It's just about 17 years or so. And I bought that home for about $134,000. So that is definitely, of course, below the average sale price in Indianapolis or any of the surrounding cities and towns right now as it stands here in 2021. Of course, after 17 years, you would think definitely. That is absolutely the case. Prices are probably going to be a little bit different now. So $134,000 or so. And it's not a giant house, 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths, and it was right about 1,600 square feet. So not exactly I would say a tiny studio apartment or condo or something like that. So it had a decent amount of space, but extremely affordable. Now, this neighborhood, and I'm actually walking over here to the east to another neighborhood that is kind of similar, at least in the size of the homes and the price of the homes and all of that. I'm just off to the east over here. In that neighborhood that I'm coming up on, most of those homes were built in the 90s, late 90s, around 2000, and even where I just came from, those homes were also built early 90s, somewhere in there, so all of pretty close to the same vintage. Now, this part of Fishers, though, now when you look back in the early 90s, in fact, around 1990 itself, there were under 10,000 people here. And so once you get up to 2000 or so, this is where we started to see the explosion of really the growth in Fishers population. So once we get up to around 2000 or so, now where there's 37,000 people or so. So it's grown a heck of a lot in those 10 years. And now we're here in 2021, all the way up to close to 100,000 people. So it's actually quite large at this point. It's actually a pretty good sized city for the state of Indiana. It ranks up there. And not near the size of Indianapolis, of course, but Fishers in and of itself is still a pretty good sized city. So at that point in time, this is where a lot of the new construction was actually happening in Fishers. And of course, it's not that way now. And you can actually get just to the north in a huge neighborhood called SUNBLEST, where you've got some homes that were built back in the 70s, 80s, so certainly before these. So what I'm trying to get at here is that Fishers used to be very, very small. In fact, if you go all the way back to 1970 or so, there's less than 1,000 people here, so not very many at all. 1990, we're still about 7,000, 8,000 or so, and then it's obviously up to 100,000 now. But this is the older part of Fishers. Now you can find some older homes than that. You can find some homes that were built in the 50s, 60s, things like that. But honestly, there aren't very many of them around anymore, especially in this area. People have moved out, they've been purchased, and of course this particular area has changed so much. And not that you would know that right now in this video just yet, because you don't really know where this is. But this particular neighborhood that I'm walking into, that I'm just walked out of, and just to the north of me over there in SUNBLEST, all of these slightly older homes for Fishers, these are all in the downtown area of Fishers. In fact, I'm walking up here to the brand new Nickel Plate Trail, which actually used to be part of the Nickel Plate Railroad. And amazingly enough, all of these neighborhoods were right here. And you can see down the path behind me. These things were all, there's a car coming, actually stopping for me. Thank you very much. These things were all near these train tracks. And the train tracks here used to be used, and then they were phased out, and really the State Fair is the only thing that ran anything on here is the State Fair train, which was pretty cool to do. You could go up to, I can see ahead of me, downtown Fishers on 116th Street, where you could jump on the train there and ride it down to the State Fairgrounds for the State Fair every summer in August, but it's gone. So they stopped using the train, stopped using tracks, and now they've turned it into this incredible walking trail. And now all I have to do is walk up here about another quarter of a mile, not really all that far, and I am right in the heart of downtown Fishers. So these neighborhoods, these super affordable neighborhoods, this is where they are. And so obviously the prices have changed. So that house that I bought for mid 130s back in 2004, so if I look back this way and go further south, there are some other neighborhoods with some homes that are a little bit bigger, but still relatively affordable. They're not that affordable at this point. They have, of course, gotten more expensive since then. Those same houses that might have gone for the 130s, 140s back there in the early 2000s, definitely going well over two now, well over two. And there are some that have hit that $300,000 mark. So while that's a lot more expensive now than what it was back then, it's still relatively affordable. Now, it's not as if you're going to get the Taj Mahal, of course. You're not gonna get a 5-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms, a basement, and 5,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet or something like that. Of course, that's not reasonable at all. But you can definitely get your 3-bedroom home, 2.5 baths or 2 baths, maybe a ranch, maybe a 2-story, somewhere in there. And it might be anywhere from 1,400 square feet to 2,000 square feet. That isn't all that bad, especially when you compare it to a lot of other bigger cities, and you might spend $500,000 and get 2 bedrooms and 1,000 square feet. Maybe not that much, maybe a little bit more than that. So while yes, it has gotten more expensive, it still is relatively affordable. Now, of course, competitive, absolutely. This is not a place where, a lot of people want to avoid. So a lot of people want to be in this particular location. They can walk right out of their house, like right there where I used to live. And here I am on the Nickel Plate Trail, just like that, in just a couple of minutes. And then I'm a quarter of a mile from downtown Fishers and everything that it has to offer, like Nickel Plate District and the amphitheater there, the farmer's market, a number of restaurants. You've got 40 Ray Brewing up there. You've got a lot of businesses now in downtown Fishers as well, so you could even work in downtown Fishers or someplace nearby in Indianapolis, and still a pretty good location for that too. So it's definitely a place that people want to be. So that's going to drive the competition up, it's going to drive the prices up, but it's still there in that affordability. And that's pretty amazing when you look at all of Fishers. And if you want to get into Fishers, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, all the way up to $1 million or more, that is fairly common. To get into a place under $300,000 is really difficult to do. And if you are going to get into Fishers under $300,000 or right at that $300,000 mark, chances are this might be one of those places that you're going to get into. But again, it's not a fit for everybody, because the amount of home that you're going to get is just not going to be maybe one that fits your family. You got a family of 5 or 4 or 6, then you're probably getting into a place that might be a little bit small for you. But if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're downsizing, or if you just don't need that much space, let's say you're a family of 4 and you're okay with having 1,400 square feet, 1,500 square feet, 1,600 square feet, 3 or 4 bedrooms, but you want to be near where all of this stuff is happening, then it could be a decent fit for you, and you're going to save some money whenever you're comparing this to other places in Fishers. Now, some of the other areas that surround Fishers, like in Carmel as an example, Carmel, the Arts and Design District, in Midtown, City Center, those places they have some of the older homes, but they're not necessarily the least expensive homes to live in at this point or to purchase at this point. They have really increased in their value. So Fishers here in this particular area, it's increased in its value quite a bit. It has gotten more expensive, but it hasn't just exponentially run away to the point where it's no longer really affordable. Now, I say all that, but you could go just off to the east over here, and there is a neighborhood where they're putting in $700,000-$800,000, even $1 million homes, but it's a tiny, tiny neighborhood, not very big at all. These neighborhoods here, when you combine them all, you got a good number of homes, definitely. So there's Heritage Meadows, Fishers Point, SUNBLEST just to the north, all of those included. Those are hundreds and hundreds of homes. And then if you get outside of that, like in Berkeley Ridge, Berkeley Grove, Burberry Place, places that have slightly larger homes, so you can get into your 4-bedroom homes and 2,000 square feet, 2,500 square feet, or actually even up to 4,000 square feet, of course more expensive. They get into the 300,000s, and some of them even get up to $400,000 or so. But still, that is dramatically more affordable than what you're going to find in a lot of other places in Fishers or in a place like Carmel, and even when you get down into Indianapolis and some of the areas as well. So if you have questions at all about anything Fishers, what might be the best fit for you in your budget, you could of course want to spend more than that and have plenty of other options. But if you're limited on your budget, this could be one of the places that might be attractive to you, and not just because of the price of the home, but its location too, which is actually really super sweet in my opinion. So if you have questions at all about any of those things, don't hesitate to reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.